Hello, everybody, and welcome to How Not to Play. If you are new to this series, I will be playing through Overwatch, selecting a character, playing a match that, has some mistakes on it, looking over it, and then talking about those mistakes and talking about how to use a character effectively as opposed to using them ineffectively. The way that I am sort of doing. I will make mistakes and I will say, hey, this was a mistake, and we'll talk about why that is. Today, ignore this, I'm just turning off some stuff for recording purposes. Today we're doing How Not to Play as Bastion. And you might be saying to yourself, Heather, whatever do you mean, how not to play as Bastion? Bastion is amazingly potent. Bastion has some of the highest DPS in the game in his turret form. Bastion has a self-heal. How can you fuck up playing this character? And the answer is, there are definitely ways. So, I am going to talk about them. Let's get this out of the way, just to sort of talk about Bastion's strength a little bit more. I do believe Bastion is overpowered, but I don't think it's because his DPS is too high. I actually think it's because his armor is too high. Bastion, I have no problem with Bastion putting out as much damage as he does if going into a turret form had more disadvantages. But right now it doesn't. You are heavily armored. If you're getting hit and you know sort of where the attack is coming from, you're going to be able to turn, pivot, and burn down the enemy. There's not a lot of reason why you should be dying as Bastion, at least if you know where the damage is coming from. Now, I will die as Bastion quite a bit in this match, but if he had to choose more between healing and other things, that would be good. Like, hey, I have to heal, or hey, I have to use my turret. Right now, you can just hunker down in turret form forever. At the start of the match, I do alright. I choose a strong position to take on the enemy. And at first, I fire on the tanky enemies, but the minute I see that there are squishier enemies, I focus on them. Particularly once I know that there's a Mercy there, I fire. I'm doing okay, but what is this? I'm dead. What has happened? I got killed by a Hanzo, who was up above, who was able to hit a small portion of me and take me out. Now, you might be saying, hey, that's not the biggest mistake, but it does let me talk about something. When you're playing as Bastion, you need to really understand where possible threats are coming from, and that means a lot of map awareness. And in this case, I wasn't being as cognizant of the map as I could be. I know that the enemy has to come through that choke point, but I also know that there's a position above it, and that there are characters who can take advantage of that. A Hanzo is a pretty strong counter to a Bastion. So is Widowmaker, basically any long-range attacker. They're not brilliant, but they are decent counters. Once I know that an enemy might be able to attack from there, I should reconsider where my position is. I should have better awareness. When you're playing as Bastion, it's easy to hunker down and get overconfident. You can die, and it's really a matter of just knowing where you need to be or where you can be at any given time. My use of this ultimate is okay, but it's not perfect. I do a nice little flank, but I'm there with the rest of my teammates, and this Reinhardt has their shields up. And yeah, I can potentially burn down their shields, but what I really should have done is I should use that ultimate to take down again, sort of like I did with my initial turret decisions. I should not focus on those tankier characters, take care of the ones that are squishy, and really burn them down. I didn't do that. It's a bit of a misused ultimate. This is just nice teamwork, even if it's unintentional by the enemy team. This is just sort of people rushing me down. But again, I've chose poor positioning. I shouldn't be that far forward. In general, as a Bastion, I shouldn't be that far forward, but also on this map, I know that there are exposed positions where that Hanzo can attack me. I know a Hanzo is on the enemy team. They killed me before. I should be paying more attention to my space in order to minimize the damage that Hanzo can do. An important thing in Overwatch is knowing what heroes you are going up against. And I know there's a Hanzo, but instead of doing anything to alter my behaviors and really deal with him, I don't do that great. And instead, I'm able to let him really do a number on me. He kills me here again. At least I'm pretty sure it's Hanzo that kills me here again. Yes, it is. And the thing is, I'm trying to find a new position, which is nice. I'm trying to find a position that overlooks the point so I can shut down people who are trying to capture. That's smart. That's fair enough. But I'm also exposing myself to a pretty broad side of the map, which means that there are a lot of potential angles from which Hanzo can attack me. I'm not worried about, like, I mean, obviously I'm not worried about Mercy running in, but I'm also not worried about, say, Roadhog running in. I'll burn down Roadhog before he can do anything, even if he tries to use his hook. If they are not being too aggressive, I'll be able to take them down. Most characters I'll be able to take down. Reaper could give me trouble if he uses his little weird phase walk thingy, but I'm probably going to burn him down most of the time as long as I know where he is. But you need to understand your position, and you also need to understand your targets. This is a mistake. So, there's a Hanzo there. It's the Hanzo that has been countering me. There's a Reinhardt who is blocking them. And I'm not going to win that. But instead of moving and getting out of there, I stay. And that leaves a lot of time for that Hanzo to do damage to me. It leaves a lot of time for that Reinhardt to line up their charge. Once I saw that I was in a scenario where I wasn't really going to be able to put on the hurt as much as I would like, and that includes not being able to burn through that Reinhardt shield fast enough, I should have gotten out of there. That Reinhardt wasn't intentionally trying to protect that Hanzo. I don't think that Reinhardt even knew that Hanzo was there. But, nevertheless, that positioning was completely advantageous to them and disadvantageous to me. And once I saw that, I should have moved and gotten out of there. The thing with Bastion, it is very easy to get overconfident, hunker down, and think that you can just fire through everything that's coming your way. But the answer is no, absolutely not. You can't. You can't do that. You need to sort of occasionally get up and be a little mobile and make decisions about when to readjust your position and when not to. This isn't the worst decision I've made. So when I use my super, that Genji pops his deflect. I think that's what they call it, is deflect and not reflect. And so he's trying to bait me into attacking him so that he can reflect back on me. And I don't fall for it, which is great. That's good play. He's trying to bait me. I know he's trying to bait me, so I don't fall for it. Instead, I burn him down, but in the process, I end up only killing him. That's okay, that happens. Here's a problem. This is a strong position for a Bastion because I have pretty strong control over where the enemies may or may not come from. They could attack me from up top, presumably, but it's probably not going to happen. This is a strong Bastion position. In fact, it's so strong we're going to see it again in a match I play as Genji. Now, I'm stationary. I'm pretty clearly telegraphing where I'm at. Hanzo knows that we are all congregated behind there. He has an attack that can go through walls. That's rough. Reaper can phase and get towards me if he's cutting around that corner, which means that he can get to me really quick. In theory, I can burst him down, but I'm not sure. I think it's a strong position, but I think a problem with what I was doing there was that I sort of wasn't saving myself, right, for the proper moment, which means that I probably could have afforded to let that Reinhardt move forward and wait for other enemies to come forward that I can burn down, again, faster. Instead, I gave away my position, which meant that they could counter me. So here, whatever, I get crushed again because I'm taking up that same position that Reinhardt got me at before, and also, I'm not paying attention to my side. Zenyatta is able to really get to my side and sort of sneak up on me, and in doing so, they are able to weaken me with a Discord Orb, and that leaves me easy pickings for Reinhardt. What's the lesson here? Don't go too far forward. Know where attacks can come from. If you're getting hit, don't be afraid to move. Reposition yourself a lot, and you'll be able to do a lot of damage. Don't always hunker down unless you have a very strong position that you're confident in. Those are the things that you can do wrong as Bastion. Alright, I will see you in the next video.